Episode 3 of the Atari Comics series, and this is where everything changes. Yar's Revenge, Eternal Atari Production, 9 story pages, Houseflies in Space. Centipede, DC Comics, 32 pages, The Littlest Elf. This is Atari Force. 5 issues, 1 continuous story, each one packed in with a different Atari 2600 game cartridge. To get to the next chapter, you had to buy the next game. Issue 1 came with Defender. The year is 2005. North America has fractured, the world has been through a war. The Atari Technology and Research Institute is one of the institutions trying to hold things together. Written by Gerry Conway and Roy Thomas, Gerry Conway created The Punisher and wrote the death of Gwen Stacy. Roy Thomas succeeded Stan Lee as editor-in-chief at Marvel. These are not people DC sent to do a throwaway promotional job. Ross Andru on art, Dick Giordano on inks and editing, Adrienne Roy on color. This is real comic, packed in a bag with a game cartridge. Issue 1, Atari Force, The Origin. The year 2005 AD. The place, the North Cal headquarters of the Atari Technology and Research Institute, in that part of the North American continent that used to be known as the California before the breakup. Chapter 1, Alert, Intruder Alert. The situation, a world in crisis. Sure, and this little buggy's radar shield has done its job well. It's within shouting distance of yon fine building that I am, but not a peep have I heard from their security screen. I'll be taking them unawares, I think, and after all, wasn't that the plan? Its engines muffled by hidden baffles, the dark-painted hovercraft settles silently into the shadows of a moonlit grotto. Lads at Atari Security have grown a mite cocky with their pretty weapons and clever sensors, and tonight I'm thinking it's going to cost them dear. But it's a sad thing they've so soon forgotten the lessons of the 5-day war. Almost, it's an attempt and hard bleat. Sure, it's a rude awakening that awaits them. I think I'll let them sleep a little while longer. And where they be, like dreaming babes, with the image intensifier built into my goggles, I'm seeing them clear as bright summer morn in a county carriage. And the poor darlings don't even know they're being watched. Don't think I'll ever get used to the sound of that force field. That's the thing makes my teeth ache. Ultra-frequency sonics, they're a killer alright. You should have seen the guard dogs the night we first turned it on. Dogs couldn't stand it. They started howling as soon as the field went up and didn't stop until we shut it down next morning. Now we walk patrol without the dogs, and I miss them. Checkpoint Delta reporting to base security. All clear at the perimeter. It's a nice night, too bad you folks down in the pit can't join us. Let's leave the slang back in the dorms, Delta Checkpoint. We don't call it the pit. Proper terminology is Security Base Station Sub-Level 7. But thanks for the thought. Roger, Base Security. Checkpoint Delta, signing out. It is a beautiful night up there, Captain. I almost wish, but the war left things so do we all, son, but the war left things pretty unsettled outside. We have to be on guard constantly. Let's hope those men remember that. Because if they slack off, it could mean disaster. What the? Lesson 1 in guerrilla warfare tactics. Grab the initiative and keep it, because if you let it slip, whack, thunk. You're finished! It's asleep, they'll be, for an hour at least, maybe more. It's all the time I'll need. Atari spent millions to perfect the force field, and a wonderful triumph for science it is, too. It'll stop bombs, lasers, even a particle beam. But, and there's always a but, by using the specially designed tuning fork, I can disrupt the sonic field for half a second in one small spot. But that's the trouble with scientific triumphs. They're only a triumph until something new comes along. The wise warrior puts his faith in his only weapon, and that's the human mind. In the pit, or if you prefer Security Base Station Sub-Level 7, Captain, we got a field break at Checkpoint Delta. Beep, beep, beep. No, that's funny. Sensors show the break closed by itself. Probably just a momentary power surge. Keep an eye open see if it repeats. No alarms, no extra guards on the prowl. I'd call it the luck of the Irish, but I'm not a woman to believe in luck. Now it's time to be taking the next step. For weeks, there had been rumors of a top-secret operation called Project Multiverse. We're working down in sub-level 17. That's where I'll be heading, and pity anyone who tries to stop me. And as the mysterious black-garbed figure with the lilting Gaelic accent makes her way further into the Atari headquarters compound, we must turn our attention to a new scene 40,000 kilometers straight up. The place, Atari Solar Satellite Station 1, designed to bring the sun's energy to a fuel-starved world. Easy with that electric torch, Lansky. We're trying to weld these panels together, not melt them to the slag. The man, Martin Champion, Commander of Station 1 and Chief Troubleshooter of Atari Institute. Sure thing, Commander. Guess I'm still not used to weightless construction work. Rebuilding the Golden Gate was a whole lot simpler than this. Huh? Jackson, look out! My jetpack misfired. Can't control my... You idiot, Jackson! You knocked that panel out of orbit. It's headed straight for the personnel module. If it hits with all that mass, people will be killed. Hey, Commander Champion is shooting after it on an intercept course. He's throwing himself in front of the panel. I see it, but I don't believe it. He did it! Champion deflected the panel at the last possible instant. Good lord, he might have been killed. And it was only bullheaded dumb luck that you weren't, Martin, my friend. Now that I got you in here in sickbay, I have half a mind to keep you here and out of trouble. Lucas, like all medicos, you're a worrywart. I survived, didn't I? Besides, I knew what I was doing. I used that same tackle a dozen times or more back on the gridiron at Annapolis. Space construction isn't a game of football, Martin, as you know very well. Sometimes I think the war made you reckless, even as it made me somewhat... Ding dong! Message incoming. Commander Martin Champion, Dr. Lucas Orion. Message Orion, Atari Institute, North Cal. Apparently someone wants to speak with us. Commander Champion, Dr. Orion, this is Assistant Director Perez from our Atari Institute, Earthside. Your presence is required immediately for a crash priority meeting of the Project Multiverse team. Lydia Perez, why the formality? You always called me Martin when... Your shuttlecraft departs in 2 minutes, Commander. I'll see you Earthside. Perez out. Lydia? Project Multiverse. That's the first I've heard that term. Any idea what it's about, Martin? No idea at all. Like some great silver bird, the shuttlecraft Armstrong leaves its perch and drops earthward in majestic silence, bearing but 2 passengers in a bay designed for 12. This Perez person seems oddly cold. Yes, I received the impression, that is. It seemed as if the two of you knew each other. Is she a friend of yours, Martin? I always thought so, Lucas, but now I'm not so sure. It's been years since I saw her. We met 7 years ago, here in Earth orbit. You remember that day, October 18th, 1998. The day all hell broke loose on the moon. NASA, remember NASA? It had established the first lunar colony 6 months before, and using mass accelerator, the colony was just starting to export building materials to near Earth orbit. It was a primitive little colony, no more than 24 personnel on site, but it was thriving. And someone among our enemies decided it was thriving too well. Chapter 2, Deadly Orbit. Good lord, that meteor, it's gonna... It took NASA 6 months of back-breaking effort to establish man's first tentative foothold on the moon, and it took someone else just 6 seconds to knock that foothold loose. In Mission Control at Cape Canaveral, grown men and women wept as the first reports of disaster came tinkling in. Lunar Damage Control reports 75% of mission personnel listed as fatalities. Life support domes 1, 2, and 3 totally destroyed. Telemetry shows 10 survivors, located in an outside bunker that managed to escape destruction. Solar power cells are providing them with energy. The remains of the hydroponics garden will supply food for 2 lunar days, about 1 month on Earth time, but their supply of air is severely limited. They'll die, suffocate, unless a rescue mission brings them the air they need in the next 72 hours. The Director Lasky? Commander Champion, you know the situation on the moon as well as any of us. Those people are 500,000 kilometers from the closest breath of fresh air. Someone has to bring them the air they need to survive. Space Station 1 has the necessary supplies. I've been in touch with the crew chief there, Dr. Perez. They're readying a makeshift supply ship. What they need is an experienced pilot, which is me. Tell them I'm on my way. Experience is relative. I've been to the moon 4 times since the U.S. space program started up again, full bore in the middle of 1990s. But nobody else had commanded a lunar mission more than twice. Most of us thought our enemies had given up on space, but apparently we'd been wrong. They'd sustained just enough interest in spite of their collapsing economy to be spoilers. Let the politicians and the diplomats handle the international implications of the attack, I thought. All I wanted to do was help save those 10 stranded colonies. This guy Perez works fast. He's taken a solar panel platform, welded a set of booster rockets and a command module, strung the whole thing with oxygen tanks like ornaments on a Christmas tree, and finished the entire job in less than 5 hours. Who cares how it looks? Huh? Perez? You're a woman? So was my mother. Strap in, Commander. We'll be leaving Earth orbit as soon as the nav computer comes up with a mission trajectory. Look, I didn't mean to... Forget it. Commander Champion, I'm Perez. Congratulations, Perez. It isn't pretty, but it'll get us to the moon. And forget waiting for the nav computer to finish this program. We're breaking orbit right now. Click. Commander, those are main thrusters. You idiot! You've depleted our tanks. We've barely enough power for mid-course corrections. How will we get back? And look at the chronometer. 67 hours. You're burning them at full power. Hit the cutoff or we won't have enough fuel to return. 11:37. That's how much time the colonists have before their air runs out. We need to make speed, Perez. Nothing else matters. If we're even a few seconds late, we've lost the race against time, and those people up there would be dead. Remember, Perez, I've flown this route before. The nav computer can plot our course as easily in flight as before flight. And right now, time is more precious than a pre-planned trajectory. We'll use the moon's gravity to slow us down. Maybe we'll have a hard landing, and maybe we'll fail, but we'll have given it our best shot. And Perez, my name is Martin. But Champion, without the necessary fuel, how can we break our velocity to land? Lydia, apology accepted. Mission Control relayed reports from the colony. Things were getting bad as the air turned foul. Fights broke out. The man went screaming mad from claustrophobia, and every hour that passed increased the pressure on him. And on us. Then, on the morning of the 3rd day, we looked through the viewport. There it was. Lunar Rescue Team, this is Mission Control. We've just lost radio contact with Lunar Base. Computer projections indicate a 95% probability that it's all over. The mission is scrubbed. Stay in lunar orbit until a proper relief ship can... Negative, Mission Control. We didn't come down this far to quit without trying for a touchdown. Champion, this is Director Lasky. Don't be a fool, risking your lives when there's so little hope. I'm ordering you to squawk. So much for Mission Control. We can't hear them as we swing around lunar dark side. Any reservations, Perez? None. You're piloting this junk pile, Champion. Go for it. It was time to bring that baby down. Once, twice, half a dozen times we circled the moon, and with each orbit we dropped lower, slowing our descent with a combination of gravity and dying retro rockets. Finally, we were too low to make another orbit, and like it or not, I don't think my heart stopped, but it sure as hell missed a beat. Champion, you're certifiable, but you're also one heck of a pilot. Once I get loose of these straps, I'm going to kiss you. Perez, as a hero of mine once said, this may be the start of a beautiful friendship. At least that's what I thought at the time. A few days later, while we were waiting with the lunar colonists for a rescue ship to arrive, the war started. NASA managed to prove which of our enemies tried to wipe out that moon base, and that led to a worldwide shootout. Earth Lydia and I came home to wasn't the same one we'd left. We lost track of each other afterward during the breakup, and like some others, we both ended up working for the Atari Institute, and things finally settled down. It's been 7 years since I last saw her. Why was she so cold? Chapter 3. Final Approach. Atari Control, we're in the glide path. Estimated touchdown in 22:0200. Roger, shuttle 8, you're right on the button. Inform your passengers that Assistant Director Perez will be on the pad with the transport vehicle when they depart. Atari Control, out. You know, Lucas, I've flown in these birds for more than a decade now, but every time one lands, it still feels like a miracle. Martin, you're an old pro at space travel. Station 1 was my first off-Earth assignment. To me, it's just fantastic that these monsters ever get off the ground. Well, friend, I guess we can breathe again. We're down. And here is our very own private welcoming committee of one. Dr. Lucas Orion, brace yourself. This is Lydia Perez, the girl of my dreams. Project Multiverse must be really high priority if the three of us raid a private jeep. Save the sarcasm, Commander. Multiverse is crash priority. Perhaps the most important project ever developed by the Atari Institute. It could mean the solution to all the economic problems the world has faced since the war. But if all you want to do is make jokes... Whoa, back off. I'd forgotten your fabulous sense of humor. Back off yourself, Martin. Miss Perez will explain everything in good time, I'm sure. It's not my place to explain, Doctor. That's up to the director. He's been in command of Project Multiverse from the beginning. I was only brought in on the design end 6 months ago. But I can tell you this. Since the war, we've searched for a solution to the world food shortage. And with Project Multiverse, we may have found the solution to that and a whole host of other potential disasters. Lucas Orion listens with only half attention of the war, and the sight of the runners who jog homeward along this abandoned stretch of highway has stirred memories he thought were deeply buried. Memories of a day 6 years in the past, during the dark months of the breakup, that prolonged period of worldwide chaos which followed on the heels of the war. Running figures. The runners of his memory were refugees, fleeing a bloody civil war in the heart of a once stable African state. Lucas Orion was a medic attached to the United Nations Peacekeeping Force, the last such peacekeeping force that dying organization was ever to sponsor. Dear heaven, this is the 4th burning village we passed this morning. When is the fighting going to stop? The last man drops dead, Doc. The whole world is... Wham! He didn't even feel the blast. Afterwards, he realized their jeep must have been struck by a mortar shell. The concussion lifted him into the air like a stuffed toy, but somehow he survived without a scratch. His driver wasn't as lucky. Lucas might have stayed there, hunched over in shock, withdrawing further and further from reality, but then he heard a small voice, crying. Wah! And he realized that there were others in the world whose horrors were greater than his own. That child! Wham! Wah! She's in the path of the bombardment. I've got to get her away. Shells whistled around him, flying dirt blinded him, but the girl's cries drew him on. Wah! Behind him, Lucas could hear enemy troops closing in on the wasted town. Machine guns chattered hungrily in the dusk. Nearer, nearer. Look out! Taka, 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 taka! Soldiers closing in from north and west. You're a civilian, little one, and I'm a medic. But in war, these days that doesn't mean much anymore. Raka, taka, 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 taka. Give a man a gun and a cause, and he'll kill anything that moves. Taka, 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 taka. Somehow he made it into the forest. They were safe, if safety had meaning in a world gone mad. UN Peacekeeping Force Headquarters 40 minutes later. Blimey, sir. It's one of our lads, a Yank medic. And he brought out a prisoner. Not a prisoner, a patient. I say, old chap, no need for hostility. We're all fighting on the same side, after all. Really, sir? I wonder if anyone he's fighting is on my side. This kind of war doesn't have sides, no victors, only victims. And so the nightmare continued, as the peacekeepers waged the bloody peace that seemed worse than war itself. Lucas spent his days battling the ravages of his disease as old as Cain and Abel, and his nights fighting the more personal ravages of despair. I can't go on. It's insanity being a part of this. When I volunteered for UN Medical Corps, it was a way to serve humanity. Instead, rightly or wrongly, I feel as if I'm aiding humanity's enemy. I heal men so they can die. No more. No more. Perhaps it's fate that this came today. New beginning, new hopes, new dreams. Perhaps even a new future for all humankind. And that's what I want, isn't it? Isn't it? Atari Institute wants to make me the director of medical research. I could leave all this behind. Stars had no answer for Lucas Orion that night. Now, 6 years later, they are as cryptic as ever. Did I do the right thing, resigning from the UN Medical Corps? My research in space medicine for Atari has been useful, but it has contributed to solving the world's terrible problems. If only I could be sure. Why don't you drop the Mysterioso routine? What is Project Multiverse? A hint, champion. It has to do with alternate reality. What? You mean parallel worlds? Worlds like our own? And other dimensions? There she is, Lucas. Atari Institute. Now that we're so close to home, Perez. Worlds with a different history than our own Earth? Now that's just a fantastic theory. It's science fiction. Excuse me, Doctor. Perez to base security. I'm at access gate 4. Unlock gate and cancel alarms. Roger. Alarms canceled. We're inside base security. Reactivate alarms. Now, as we're saying, Doctor, to the people of, say, the early 1980s, our world would be science fiction. Look at it this way. Science fiction is simply a reality that hasn't happened yet. So it's to be as easy as this, is it? I'd almost expect a trap. But it's clear the lads at security have an emotion that anything's wrong. The sensor detector tells the tale. And what a woeful tale 'tis. Every slip of a girl has penetrated the tightest security system in all North Cal, laying bare its greatest secret for the plunder. And not a man or woman in the entire Atari complex even suspects I'm here. To be continued. See Atari's Berserk game cartridge for the startling conclusion of Atari Force, The Origin. Yes, folks, that's correct. I expected you to buy the next game in the series in order to find out what happened next. Atari Force, Issue 1, 1982. Packed in with Defender. Conway and Thomas gave us a world that survived a war. Lucas Orion was healed soldiers and decided he was doing the wrong thing. Martin Champion, who flew a junk ship to the moon because 67 hours was all the time the colonists had and nothing else mattered. And somewhere in sub-level 17, an Irish woman in a purple jumpsuit is reading Atari's greatest secret off a sensor detector. We don't know who she is yet. To find out, you needed to buy Berserk, which is episode 4. Coming next. This has been SL Toons, Felix Silvesky, SL Tonight. Good night.